How you guys doing? Welcome to Phie.Love Intuitive Conversations. I hope you guys are good. Yeah. If you like my content, please do like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, if there's any negativity, if there's any hate, please do keep that on your side of the street, okay? It won't be acknowledged. So, family, in this video, I'm being guided by Spirit to briefly talk about when the manipulators and the hidden agenda creatures in your life transform into shapeshifters. Okay. Now, as I've said before in some of my past videos, not everybody is going to go through a process of awakening in this lifetime. Okay. And part of the process with an awakening journey is awakening to all the manipulators and the hidden agenda creatures in your life, right? When you're awakening, it's a bit of a shock to the system to recognize or to see how many, if not all, that you're surrounded by are actually people like this, right? You awaken to the fact that you've been your entire life settling for the bare minimum, which is how people show up physically and verbally in your life. And that was enough, right? That was enough to convince you on someone's integrity. That was enough to convince you to put your signature down somewhere. That was enough to convince you to feel safe going into places or situations with certain people, right? Doing certain things, bringing certain people into your space and your private environment. When you start going through your process of awakening, the physical, sorry, it's got another mosquito here. The physical and the verbal is no longer enough. You're not able to not see the hidden intentions, the energy, and the things beyond the physical and the verbal that previously you were not able to see. You move into a place internally where silently your motivations, your needs, your perspectives around what you perceive as validation for yourself, all of that silently internally starts shifting and changing, and the people around don't realize that, they don't recognize it, because in the same breath they're distracted, right? You start awakening and these things start changing inside you, and suddenly what you thought was your world has changed. People don't look the same anymore. You're not digesting people the same way. They don't touch your energy, and they don't land, and you don't translate them the same way anymore, because now you're actually opening up and you've become sensitive and are able to pick up on everything else that's been hidden behind the physical and the verbal that you've been living by and according to for so long, right? So when this starts happening, right, people's smiles, their tone, the sweet words, whatever it is that generally people would show up, whatever they would use to manipulate the energy, to move you into a place that aligns to what they want or how they want you to respond or react. All of these things just don't work anymore. And suddenly you become the person who's the problem, right? Now, if you don't know that, if these things are happening, but you can't really, explain it, you don't understand it, and you can't go to people around you and ask them to validate that for you. Understand that this is the process that you're going through, and it's something you're going to have to learn to appreciate and acclimate to on your own. Because you can't turn to the people who are actually manipulating you on whatever magnitude to validate the experience that you're going through, right? To validate that you see them, right? Spirit says this is the time where you start learning to move quietly. You start speaking less, observing more. Learn to be okay with silence. Learn to no longer react and respond to people the way they expect you to. Okay? Learn to be okay with people being confused by your observation of them, by your non-reaction, by your lack of response, by your digestion of a situation instead of trying to control a situation, right? Learn to observe someone trying to control a situation. Start training yourself out of trying to compete with people in your environment to control a situation. Okay? Your power is in your silence. Your power is in your ability to observe and not react. Your power is in your knowing that you have control over how you respond and how you deal with situations that people bring into your life and your experience. Without fear and without favor, right? Now, when you start moving into this place of observation, right? When you start being able to pick up on the manipulation and the so-called spells and the tools being used to cover up the hidden agenda or intentions, right? All these things that have been put over you for so long, all these things that have been, that you've acclimated to being a part of your dynamics with people. It won't take them long to realize that you see them, right? They're going to start acting like deers in headlights. They won't know what to do with themselves. Why? Because they know how to act and be everything except themselves. And nobody wants to admit, right, that their presence in your life is covered with the hidden agenda to their presence in your life is covered with manipulation, is covered with a fake smile, is covered with regular check-ins that are also, maybe just things to keep you hooked, things to keep you, available to them, things to keep your energy lines and whatever you provide and whatever they're getting out of a dynamic from you available. Okay? When they recognize that you see them, you're going to see the people in your life they're going to transform into shapeshifters. What do I mean by that? When they start recognizing that you see them, and they start realizing that the usual way that they show up isn't having any kind of effect or drawing any kind of reaction or response out of you, but instead has you dealing with them in a way that is aligned to the truth that you see, right? Don't become reactive. This is the time that you learn. Like I said, you observe and be okay with them being in the shapeshifter energy. One day they'll show up like they normally do. The next day they'll show up angry. The next day they'll start accusing you of something. The next day they'll be nice. The next day they'll be triangulating you. The next day they'll be turning you into the villain. The next day they're going to make themselves your victim. The next day they're going to go to your partner, to your family, to your friends. The next day they're going to start plotting, scheming, and planning on how to affect your life. The next day they're going to come in and they're going to start apologizing profusely for all kinds of things. The next day they're going to want to sit down and talk with you. The next day they're going to want to throw tantrums. Do you see what I'm saying when I'm talking about shapeshifters? They will show up in every kind of emotion and energy and personality except themselves, right? Accept themselves. And getting people like this to actually admit to whatever the hidden agendas are in the background, be it small, be it big, be it energetic, be it emotional, be it whatever it is. Okay, you will pick it up on your own within your own situation. They will never admit to it. You know, confronting them about it will be met with a deflection. It will be met with aggression. It will be met with arguing. It will be met with accusations. It will be met with tantrums, defense, all kinds of things, slamming doors, running off, threats, right? Allow all those things to happen. Learn to just be the observer. And when they get to the point of realizing that nothing is working on you anymore, they may just decide to leave. You won't even have to say anything. Okay? So if you're somebody who's going through this process of, silently transforming within yourself, you're awakening to these things and you're not really sure, like, why am I starting to see people differently? Why am I suddenly feeling things and picking things up on people that I previously, weren't so in my face, and now they are. I can't ignore it. I can't participate with it. This is what's happening. Okay. So sometimes the divine will be the one to awaken you to these things, and sometimes it's the transformation that's happening within you, that your perspective is rising and your energy and your intuition, and you're becoming more sensitive, and the veils are dropping, that these things can no longer just exist in your life. And it's part of the process that you're going through to help you cleanse your life of things that are not meant to be there and that are not able to go with you and move with you into a different vibration, right? So in the same breath, it can be a painful process to go through, because a lot of the time these are people that you've trusted. These are people that you have strong attachments to. Suddenly, you start seeing that, and these are things that are hard. Like, I don't know why is that okay? So I'm hearing, some people. It's like how do you want me to say this? So say you're somebody who has a father that's always been asking you for money, right? Or a family member. I don't know why I was told to say a father. That was too specific. Anyway, a family member, okay? Say you have a family member that's always been asking you for money. And for the longest time, you've been okay with it. You felt fine supporting, and you gain some sort of validation out of somebody putting you into a position of feeling like you're useful, like you're needed, right? These shapeshifters, these manipulators, these hidden agenda creatures I'm talking about, they recognize that in you. You feeling needed by their ability to make you useful in their life, by your ability to give to them, by their ability to make you feel needed, gives you validation. And you don't even realize that they're actually using that to their advantage. Because you love them, because they're a family member. I'm being told to say because it's your father, right? Because it's your father, right? Now, the moment you start awakening to all of this and your vibration lifts and you start, you see it now. And you're like, this motherfucker. I didn't know. You start saying no and you move into observation. Right? Now the tantrums start. They start shape-shifting in their personality. They're unable to show up in their true form, because their true form wouldn't actually have you in their space and in their life if you were not useful to them. And I know it's harsh, but these are the things that you have to work through when you go through these things. Okay? You see all the manipulation and everything within the family members, within the friends, within the work colleagues, within the girlfriend or the boyfriend or the husband or the wife. All of these things start feeling like an amplified violation to your soul. And, you would rather get rid of it than tolerate it. So, when these things start happening, Spirit doesn't want you to react, okay? Spirit wants you to raise your perspective, see these things for what they are, okay? Recognize and pay attention to when people, when you start moving into your sovereignty, when you start moving into your awareness, and people recognize this. Pay attention to the changes in personality and the changes in emotions and the changes in how they show up, and in the changes and the different ways they're going to try and get you to react, to respond, to give, to get you back in place, to get you back in line. How can you do this to me? What am I supposed to do? Well, sometimes people don't ever think that their dependency, that they're exploiting, or that they're draining resources or energy from, they get so comfortable that they never ever decide to make a plan for themselves and decide to just make themselves someone else's responsibility. And they get to the point of being entitled to it, to the point of making themselves a victim when that dependency says no more. You don't give a fuck about me. You give a fuck about what you're getting out of this dynamic. And it will all be made abundantly clear to you. The only thing that will keep you there is your denial and your inability to choose yourself and say no. Your fear of making people angry. Okay? And I mean, sometimes the divine needs those people to get onto their own feet, even if it means they have to go through a little bit of a hard time in their lives for some time. It's part of the learning journey. It's part of the lessons they need to learn. And if you don't step away, I've said it before, the divine will sometimes strip you of whatever those people are dependent on to move them, because you are being an obstacle in someone else's journey and someone else's growth. Overcome wanting to be a hero. Overcome wanting to be a savior. And overcome finding your validation in people's ability to exploit you and make you feel needed. Just like in the last video, we've said the mental defenses you have up and the illusions and the stories you've told yourself about these relationships and the illusions of responsibility and expectation out of certain positions within the family dynamic and hierarchies that we find ourselves in, right? All of those things will put a tinted or will put rose-colored glasses onto your eyes and onto your perspective, and have you fucking around and finding out later, because they keep you, those perspectives and being in those places and being loyal to those illusions keep you in places that are not aligned with the truth. Okay, so allow the shapeshifter to play themselves out until they decide to move away, because before they move away, they will first become desperate. They will first become desperate. Excuse me. Before they move away, they will first try to injure you, try to hurt you. They will say things, they will attack you. The scripture's the same. That's the programming. They will try to attack you, they will hurt your feelings, and they will expect you to take them back in and forgive them after they say sorry. They will try and make you vulnerable by putting you into very high emotional states to try and get you back into control. Stay grounded, stay quiet, stay observant. And whatever you take in and learn from, whatever you take in and learn from what you see in them in your situation and how those dynamics are unfolding, you will know what the next decision and movement is to make, what the right direction is to go. And you will hold your grief in one hand, okay, and your truth in the other, and move forward. You will become stronger. It is something you will overcome, and you will move into a new way of life gradually over time. But you have to overcome these things. You have to work them out within yourself, okay? And recognize that it's building you up. It's building you. It's making you strong. And as you encounter these things more and more, as you start awakening to more and more people around you in your life that are like this, that you're surrounded by, and that have you covered in manipulation and illusion, it'll start getting easier. It'll be disappointing. It will be disappointing. Every time you awaken to someone new and you pick it up, you won't even, it'll get to the point where even the slightest and the smallest feeling of manipulation, you won't even want to be a part of it. The smallest and the slightest feeling of someone's integrity being off, and someone coming with hidden agendas and not showing up in their true form and energy and being straight up about what it is that they're there for and how they deal with you, you'll just want to cut it off and move on. You want your energy clean. You don't want your reality messed with. Okay? But keep putting one foot in front of the other. You have nothing to lose on the outside that you can't gain back. Okay? And if you're aligned with the divine, you will be protected. You are protected. And you are guided. And you are loved. Okay? So, I'm going to leave it there. I hope it's resonated. Okay? And I'm going to pull a card today, again, from the Miracle Cards by Marianne Williamson. Okay? And let's see what Spirit has to support our conversation. Or give somebody who's watching our video a nudge in a specific direction. Okay? Let's see. And please have one card, Spirit. Generosity. Okay? The card says, our generosity towards others is key to our positive experiences in the world. Know that there's enough room for everyone to be passionate, creative, and successful. In fact, there's more than room for everybody. There's a need for everybody. Okay? So, don't be too harsh and judgmental. Okay? These people are still people who are, the people who you're going to awaken to are people who are still operating in their lower aspects. And at some point later in this lifetime or in the next one, they will also go through their process of awakening and moving their vibration and their energy, moving their vibration and their energy into a place that is, aligned with their own spiritual soul blueprint and where they're supposed to be. Okay? So, don't allow people to make you cut your, to make you breadcrumb yourself. And don't let people breadcrumb you, manipulate you with breadcrumbs, manipulate you with the bare minimum, because they see where you're lacking, they see where you're in need, they see where you want to be loved, they see where you want to be accepted, they see where you want to be acknowledged. Those are things that you can receive from generous, loving people out there because you just are, not because you have to be something or do something or, be what somebody needs to receive those things. Someone can be generous and someone can love you just because. That's love. You don't have to work for love. You're just loved. You don't have to work for loyalty. If someone loves you, if someone just loves you and has your best interest at heart, they will be loyal. They will be generous the same way that you are. Okay? The same way the divine just loves you. The Most High just loves you. You can be given to because you're just loved as you are, with your flaws. Whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you've been a dick, whether you've been an asshole, whether you're a good person or a bad person, you're always worthy, okay? And good people and bad people just need to also, what we would label as bad people, right? They also just need to awaken and go through their process. But you don't have to be a part of And you're not going to sit and wait around for someone to awaken to things and change. Be also generous with yourself the way that you want to be or are generous to other people. Okay? I'm going to stop there. Anyway, I hope it's resonated, family, and I'll see you in the next video, okay? And if nobody's told you that they love you today, I love you, okay? And I'm here. So, yeah, I'll see you in the next video, okay? Bye.